Morning, everyone. How we doing? Just give everyone a couple of seconds here to trickle in. My name is Cheri. Thank you so much for joining today. It's bright and early, 6 a.m. down here in Sydney. We've got a swathe of different time zones joining around the world. So please feel free to jump into the chat and say hi and tell us where you're from. And we'll get started here in a few seconds' time. We'll do some quick intros to kick us off. As I said, my name's Cheri. Hopefully, I've seen some of your faces before. Thank you so much for joining our What's New in Dovetail 3.0 launch special. I'm also joined by Alissa. Alissa, I'll throw to you for a quick intro.
Hi, everyone. Good morning for me as well, albeit from Dovetail San Francisco office, so a little bit later in the morning for me. I am Dovetail's head of product marketing. We'll be manning the chat and the Q&A in the beginning part, and then we'll jump back on in the second half to do some demoing. But we're super excited to have so many people joining us from all over the world to showcase all the cool things that we've been working on at Dovetail.
Love it. And as always, this will be recorded. So check your emails later on today for the recording to come through and some awesome little Dovetail resources. And we'll get ourselves underway here. As Alissa said, please pepper questions at us. Pop them into the chat. We'll answer them live if I can while I'm going through, and vice versa for Alissa. I'm sure we've got some other dovetailers here in the chat. So by all means, please throw your questions at us. Don't make us talk to you. We love a bit of crowd participation. So let's let's get underway. So it's been about 3 weeks since we went live with our launch of 3 new products and 5 new features in Dovetail 3.0. So let's cast our minds back. It was mid-October. We announced 3 new products, which is channels for continued AI analysis and surfacing trends in high volume data like support tickets. Uh, Ask Dovetail, my personal favorite, which is letting you get instant answers from Dovetail, conversational insights right in Slack or Teams, as well as Recruit, which is set to be in beta later this month. So we'll be taking through all of that today. And we also shipped 5 new features. So we've got AI analysis, so automatic highlights, automatic summary, and automatic tagging or magic tagging. Calendar sync to automate getting data into Dovetail, fully redesigned navigation, which we'll be going through today, web links to make sharing easier, and of course, our supercharged survey analysis, giving you automated summaries of your surveys. So today we're here to demo them live for you, and I'm going to kick us off now and share my screen and get us underway. As I said, I'm going to start in the old navigation, but we are going to jump across into the new world. So get excited and let's go. Cool. I'm hoping everyone can see my screen. Someone can tell me otherwise, I'm sure. But what we've got here is our demo workspace that we use at Dovetail called Zotify. It is a music streaming platform, an imaginary one though. So this is what we'll be demoing out of today. And this is the homepage. Any of our business or enterprise customers will be familiar with this. We've got our navigation up the top, our feeds on the left, and our homepage. Now, down the bottom left here, we've got introducing Dovetail 3.0, and I'm going to click that and get us started in our new nav and quickly touch on what's going on in here. So you can click enable for me and you'll get a lovely little tour to walk through. Highly encourage you to take the tour, but we're here today live, so we'll do it for you. Now, if you don't have business or premium, you would have an avatar in your top right page of your projects page. That's where you're going to be able to enable this and turn it on for yourself. You can currently go back and forth between the old and new experience. So jump in, tell us what you think, give us your feedback. We love to hear from you. As a seasoned Dovetail user, I'm loving it. But of course, we want to hear what you all think. So let's talk about what the changes are here. We've moved our top nav over to the left. You'll see all the things that you want to quickly access come up in our left panel here. Your work, browse, you can quickly create from this view now as well. And you can pin your favorites underneath as well, whether it's a project or a channel. We're going to use this little space on the bottom left here to tell you about new features and cool things coming in Dovetail. So keep an eye on this little card that'll change periodically. And then you've got your settings and more in the bottom left now instead of up in the top right. Obviously, there's been some changes to the project interface as well. I just saw we've got Newcastle upon Tyne joining. Hello, love Newcastle upon Tyne. We've got settings down here, and we're going to jump in and start there because we are today talking all about automation in Dovetail. And when we get to the project, I'll take you through what the new view looks like there as well. Cool. So let's talk about the star of the show for 3.0, or one of the stars of the show, which is automation in Dovetail. Now, automation to me, is sort of two-pronged in Dovetail now. It's about automating and helping you move faster to get data into Dovetail. And then once that data is in Dovetail, how do we help you move faster to find insights? So going from that raw piece of customer data, whether it's a survey, a doc, or a PDF, or a customer call, an interview, and helping you automate finding, elevating insights and sharing them with your team. And that third piece of the puzzle is all about really just lowering barriers for everyone and making sure your whole org, your whole team can work with a customer-centric sort of mindset. So in Dovetail 3.0 now, you can fully automate the workflow. But of course, like anything in Dovetail and anything Dovetail AI, we've been very thoughtful about how we do that. And we want to make sure we've got that human in the loop, giving you full control over the level of automation that you have. So let's jump into our settings page because I want to kick us off. I know settings isn't the most exciting place to start, but I want to make sure you're all exploring the integrations that we've launched to allow you to automate getting data into Dovetail. I know we've got a lot of Americans on the call, so I probably should say data because I know my data sounds a lot like daughter, but I'll try. So what we've got here is our integrations page, bunch of cool integrations to help you get data in and data out. What we're going to focus on today is our calendar sync feature. Right now it's live for GCal. Outlook's coming very, very soon. All you need to do is integrate with the platform where you record your interviews or calls. So for me, that's Zoom. Secondly, and we've got Teams coming very, very soon, and the G Teams as well, coming very, very soon. Then you've simply got to configure your calendar. So for me, that's GCal. All I've got to do is go ahead and say where I want to pull these recordings from. I select which source, so you can see we've got Teams and Google Meet coming soon. And then really importantly, type the phrase of the events in your calendar. So for me, that's going to be demo. It might be webinar. It might be research call, depending on the type of events that you name your customer facing calls. And then you simply need to select which project you want to drop it into. And then Dovetail will automatically be working to bring these calls in. So when you land in Dovetail, they'll already be there. And depending on the level of automation you've set, potentially analyzed and insights already elevated for you. So I highly encourage you all to jump into settings and get your integrations humming because that's really going to tick that first box of data into Dovetail. I'm just going to pause there and make sure there's no questions. I know settings isn't the most exciting place to start, but I'll jump into a project if we're all good to go.
Quick question around Calendly. Will Dovetail allow the use of Calendly for available choices?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't explored specifically Calendly or said that we're going to do it, but this is like the first three that we've looked to set up. So, the world is our oyster from here, and now that we've built this, and we'll keep you guys updated in our changelog and of any new ones for sure.
Great. And then maybe just one more before you move on, Shez. Are these settings that you're walking through available for the whole workspace?
Yeah, that's right. So if you except if you're a viewer, obviously. So if you're a contributor, you can jump into your settings and navigate your integrations. There are some level of admin controls in our premium workspaces. So as long as that hasn't been turned off by admins, you're going to be good to go.
Cool.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, let's go home. Now, on the left-hand side here, I've got the project we're going to demo in today. It's pinned to my favorites. We love that. Super easy access. So once you land in the new project experience, you'll be presented with, some of you may know this lovely man's face, Dan, with a lovely little walkthrough of what's changed in the project. Please, by all means, have a look through, but we'll explore it together now. So you may remember on the left-hand side of your project, that's where we had the panel that listed out all the objects in Dovetail. So notes, highlights, tags, insights, and you could sort of, get to your project settings there and change everything that you wanted for your project. Dovetail has come at this navigation change with the idea of simplification. So I remember when we were talking about it, we were like, let's move Dovetail out of everyone's way. Because it's a lot. And especially for people trying to get started in Dovetail, there was so much to see and look at. So in its simplest form, if I close out this filter view, this is what you will see when you land in your new navigation. So we are currently on the data tab or data object. And we have changed the naming convention of notes to be data. And that's purely just to be more inclusive of the different types of data you might be bringing into Dovetail. Notes was a made-up object named by Dovetail and created some confusion. So we've changed it to data because that just makes sense. It's simple, it's easy. So whether it's video interviews, PDFs, docs, CSVs, your data will sit here. For me, I've got highlights and insights turned on as tabs I want to see. You can head over to your plus sign here. And as you can imagine, this is where you can bring in data and connect to your integrations. But it's also where you can turn on and turn off other tabs. So for me, we've got charts here. I'm going to turn off tags because honestly, since magic tagging, I don't use them personally because I'm not the persona that we built tags for. But I definitely use magic highlights. I'm going to have that turned on. So again, completely up to you, customizable. We love it. Next to that, the next new button you're going to see is filter. Now, this is where you can access those more advanced features of Dovetail. We want to give you the control. It's all still here. It's just a little bit easier and hopefully a lot nicer to use. This is where you can add filters if you're using metadata on your data. This is where you can change different views, your board layout, your grid layout, list layout, and sort of sort your data out. You can obviously still have different views. So you can see here, I've got survey responses and in video interviews set out in different views. So it's all still there. But again, you click that off. We've got a nice focus view on the work at hand. Cool. All right. Any questions with the new nav before I jump in? Seemingly quiet, which is, I love that. All right, cool. I'm going to jump up to the top right meatball here because this is an important one, all about control of automation. I may have seen something in the chat there about how do you turn this off, because I know that there are premium customers and pro customers who have very advanced taxonomies who don't necessarily want us to go ahead and tag everything for them. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. In your top right-hand corner, you've got magic automation settings. You can see here that the top three, I've got it all turned on. Now, for me, that makes sense. I used to be a salesperson. I'm a PMM now. I'm not analyzing things manually. We want to make sure Dovetail is for everyone. So what we've got here is everything turned on for me. My calls go directly in, and I want Dovetail to summarize it. I want Dovetail to find the highlights for me and elevate them, and then my team be able to search for them and use them to inform their customer decisions. If you don't want this to be the case, come in here and adjust it. You've got suggest or completely off. So suggest is Dovetail's going to show you elevated moments that might be of interest to you. And if not, you don't need to use them. Summarizing data, we're going to summarize it for you if you want. And if you don't, turn it off. So you can absolutely turn it off and have control over that. I'm going to show you what that looks like in 3 different ways now as well. I'll just pause there and see if there's any other questions around automation, because I know that's a big one.
Yep. Just one question. The magic automation settings, is it at the project level or can it be handled at the workspace level?
So right now it's at the project level. We are looking at how do we handle it if we want to handle it at the workspace level. And once you set it, that's what's going to be your project settings, like for future projects. So let's jump into my first data point here with our very friendly man on support, Pat. So you can see here on my right sidebar, we've got all our different icons that you're hopefully used to: summary, highlight, tags, fields, comments, and now people. Now, I've had this turned on for this piece of data. So Dovetail has gone through and summarized it for me. I've got nice little timestamps of what it was summarizing. And you can see here, anytime there is that Dovetail avatar, that means magic has been involved in creating this. You can filter magic out now in search in Dovetail. So if you only want to see human created insights and moments, you absolutely can. Or you can add it in or co-add it. So we've made it really obvious where AI has had a little sprinkle in Dovetail. If I go to highlights, you'll see the same thing. So these are all accepted highlights automatically for me because I had it turned on. You can see I've now been involved in this process because I accepted all highlights automatically. And Dovetail has also applied my tags to the highlight. You can control which tag board Dovetail can use if you want to do some tags included in auto tagging, some tags not. But for me, this is how I like to use Dovetail now because it makes me move super quick and go from raw data into inside out. May not be as accurate as a human, but it absolutely works for me. So that is the experience of fully on. Now, if you were to toggle those settings and adjust them slightly and maybe just have summary turned on, but suggest on highlights and taggings, this is what you'd see when you land in a data pit set. You've got suggested highlights. So we've found 9, and now it's up to you whether you want to accept them, tag them differently, reject them. So you've got that level of human in the loop here. There might be some key moments where you're like, yes, good, great, that is a key moment. I want that. Or you might just be like, no, not relevant to what I'm looking at. If there's no tag that works for the highlight we've found, we'll simply highlight it for you and elevate it, and then it's your call what you want to do with that. So I'll go ahead and accept all. Now, if we had everything turned off, which is absolutely a way that you might use Dovetail now, depending on who you are, what your persona is, this is what you'll see. You'll land in here. You've got no summary. You can summarize it if you want. You've got no highlights. You can run the highlights if you want. And then you can simply go through and do your manual analysis as you always have been able to in Dovetail, whether that's applying a highlight or a tag and a highlight. Once I've highlighted it, it still goes into that highlight icon here. Now, before I jump into sharing these insights, I'm going to pause there and see how we're doing for questions.
Yeah, there's a great question around the use of tags, magic highlighting and tagging. How can we improve the quality of the highlights and tags, like adding prompts or instructions?
What a great question. So glad you asked. So let me jump back to, you can do it in a tag board, but I'm just going to do it in the note level here. Sorry, the data file level here. You can see these are the tags that have been applied to this file. If you click over to that tag, you're going to be prompted to create or describe this tag. And this is how you can think about prompting in Dovetail. So the first level of prompting in Dovetail now is the title of your tag. So Dovetail is, clever enough to understand, okay, we're looking for discovery. That's the theme. But if you want to help the AI be even more nuanced in the themes you're looking for, jump in and just create a description on this tag, and that's going to allow it to work even better and more relevant to what you're looking for. So you can do that if I go ahead and turn on tags. This is where you might want to manage that.
Right. And maybe a two-for question. One person just wants to see, again, how you got to the automation settings super quick. And then maybe while you're there, a follow-up question explaining the difference between Magic Highlight and Magic Insights.
Yeah, okay. All right, Magic Automation, top right-hand meatball menu. There you go, Magic Automation. And you'll see here we've got some other things available soon, so keep your eye there. This is where they'll all come out. We will let you know when this happens. and the difference between magic highlights and magic insights. So, highlights in Dovetail, you can think of are a small, nugget or moment that is elevated in your data. It might be something you apply a tag to, it might not be, but it's a key moment. An insight is more of like a flexible way to summarize and present your findings. And we use insights interchangeably with Dovetail. And the way we think about it is it a capital I? That means the object in Dovetail, or is it a lowercase I? And that means the insight that the customer has found. And so lowercase I can absolutely be a highlight because that's an insight. That's a piece of information, key bit you want to share with your team or come back to you later. Insight capital line Dovetail. There are no magic insights yet that we create for you outside of survey automation, which is what I'm going to jump into next. But I hope that clears it up. It's a common question. What's an insight? What's a highlight? It depends on whether you're using a capital I or not, really. But magic highlights could absolutely be seen as magic insights. It's just a lowercase I. It's not the object in Dovetail. Does that make sense? I feel like I this was, yeah. Is that clear? Is there any follow-up questions to that?
Yeah, no follow-up questions there. Great job, Jez. Yeah. Insight
Cool.
is a fun word at Dovetail. We love the word insight.
We do. All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off tags. So the last piece of the puzzle I'm gonna go through today. Oh, sorry, I wanted to show you sharing just real quick. Speaking of insights, when you find those insights, we want to make it easier for you to share. So we've gone ahead and created what we're calling web links. You're probably familiar with that if you use any other products like Notion. If you click onto a highlight, you've got your share option here now. And you're now able to share a highlight or the whole data file directly to the web so that your team can view it and consume it without having to log in. Now, you can absolutely control this in your settings. If web link sharing is not ideal for your setup, invite your team to your workspace. That is fine. Otherwise, you can click share to web, toggle on, copy the link, and then that'll be a really nice focused experience for your team to consume. You can also do that on the data point level. So if I go up here, share to web, the team will get a lovely little live link where they can consume the entire transcript, the original video, but also a nice little automatically stitched together highlights reel of this data file. So every highlight we will actually stitch together to create an automatic reel for you, and your team can consume that as well in that live link. Awesome. I'm going to jump into the survey stuff now, but any questions there?
No, maybe just one before you pop over into surveys. Another AI question. What are the capabilities of being able to teach Dovetail's AI to understand shorthand or company slang for concepts?
Oh, yeah, good one. So you probably want to be looking at a custom vocab. This is something that we're working out how to make it easier and more accessible to you since the new nav, because that was one feature that kind of went away. So custom vocabulary is really where you would do that. We're looking at doing it at the workspace level in your settings. So if you jump into settings, you're able to teach Dovetail nuanced words that might be more industry related or company names and that sort of thing. So it'll work at a workspace level and be able to identify them. However, I would still probably create a tag for that nuanced word. Like obviously we would have a tag for dovetail and then describe what dovetail is in that, the description of the tag. So any nuanced words or industry slang, you can create custom vocab to help us identify and highlight it. But I would also be creating a tag and describing what that word means or, the company itself.
Great.
Cool. Alrighty. I'm going to switch out views here and go to what you probably saw before I mentioned. I've also got a data view here for survey responses. Now there's a whole bunch of updates that we did to bringing a survey or CSV file into Dovetail. It definitely traditionally wasn't the easiest experience, but if you want to experience it, go up to import. I'm just going to quickly choose a file so you can see it really quick. And there's now a new mapper that you'll experience. So you can tell Dovetail what you want to keep as metadata. We'll identify what's a question and what's an answer, and we'll give you a nice little preview here of what that's going to look like on the data points. I'm going to jump out of that and just jump into one that I've already brought in. So you can see here, I've got my questions, I've got my answer, I've got my question, I've got my answer. You can go ahead and see the fields or the metadata attached. So if, for example, you want to start drilling down and working with this data, you might want to say, all right, only show me males in Germany, and what they like most about Zotify. So you can start using that metadata to drill down into this data. And then finally, of course, you can link it to a contact. We have brought contacts into the data level now. So you're able to actually link the responses out to the person. So that's sort of how it looks once it lands in Dovetail. And this is where I usually work with a CSV, this view of a table, because it just feels a lot like an Excel spreadsheet to me. And you can add filters and start segmenting and drilling your data here. But for the big sort of finale of automation, and the really big wow moment of the survey improvements, if you jump over to Insights after you've imported a survey, you'll actually see that there is an insight automatically created for you that gives you a summary of each question. So I had 100 responses to this one question that I brought in. And Dovetail will actually go ahead and summarize this for you. So I had 5 questions. You might have 100 questions. It will summarize each one for you. And you can see here we've got the little Dovetail summary here, so you know it's magic. And then once you've published this, you can go ahead and again share it as a web link, or it will live as an asset in your project that is resurfaceable that you can find and your team can consume, all linked back to the original survey data. So I'm going to pause there on the automation front, and it's probably time for Alissa to take us through, how do we surface this stuff again, and how do we get our teams engaged? But I'm going to see if there's any questions, and I'll be done with my part.
Great. A couple questions. Any guidance documents available on how to set up and use survey data?
Yes, so the Help Center has had a very big rejig. I would encourage you to just dive into our Help Center, type in surveys. Pat Barlow and the team has made it a really, really nice, easy to understand doc. The best way to manage that.
Okay. Will we be able to have the AI read and interpret a collection of data based on the non-content data fields? For example, most companies in X industry, that being the data field, tend to CTP after a number of days.
Hang on, I'm sorry, I might need you to repeat that one.
No, it's okay. Will we be able to have the AI read and interpret a collection of data based on the non-content data fields? So if you have a data
Oh, like
field
the
like that
metadata
industry, for
field?
example. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, not yet. That's a good one. No, so right now we're sort of like just focused on the answer part, so the text, the free text part. Anything that's a field or metadata, not yet. But yeah, we'll keep it in mind. I'll take it up to the team. That's a good one.
Cool. Someone asked, I have a list of all the words. Oh, never mind. Sorry, that's a different question. Someone asked, how do you toggle to the survey responses? Can you show that again? How you toggle to survey responses?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like to the insight. So the flow there is the data just lives on your data grid. It's all down here. That's it in grid view. I just set up a different view so I could see it as a table because that feels nicer to me when I'm working with survey data. And then it's automatically done for you. So once you get that survey data in, which you simply bring in by going to import, choosing a file, bringing in your CSV. If you've got it in Google Drive or OneDrive, get your integrations going. Jump over to Insights, and then it'll be there waiting for you after a couple of seconds. If you get there too soon, it's going to be working away on the summary. But that's how you do it. There's nothing you need to do. It's automatically done for you.
And maybe one more on surveys. Is there automation to import survey responses for an ongoing survey, like a CSAT?
Yeah, that might be a great opportunity for Alissa to start talking about channels and what we're doing with ongoing CSV data. Great segue. But thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I'm going to throw over to Alissa now.
See what I did there, everyone? What
Loved
a
it.
what a handoff. What a handoff that was. Hey, gang, there's a lot of other questions still in the Q&A panel. We're passing the baton so she can go in and keep answering all of these as we go along. But super excited to kind of pick up where Cheri left off and give you some updates on some of the new products that we released as part of the Dovetail 3.0 launch. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let me know if you can't see the Zotify Workspace homepage. And like Cheri mentioned, the first thing I'm going to talk about is channels, which is something we actually released in beta earlier this year at our April conference, Inside Out. And we really imagined this as a purpose-built solution to help make sense of those mountains of kind of continuous feedback streams. So like support tickets, CSATs, NPS reviews, things like that, and how we can leverage AI to kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting around making sense of those always on like mountains of data to identify trends. And so that's what we released in beta earlier this year. Thanks to the over 350 customers who tried out channels during that beta process. We, not just refined the model and kind of made some tweaks to improve the quality of those outputs, but we also added a lot of really great functionality to give you more control over the data that's continuously flowing in. And so let me show you what channels looks like today. So what I'll start with first is I'll show you what it's like to kind of create a channel from scratch. So I'll just here on the new homepage, quickly navigate to create new channel. You'll see I'm presented with some options. What type of data am I looking to analyze? And it's important here to note that each of these different kind of streams are kind of different purpose-built AIs that are meant to analyze that certain data type. For this one, I'll go ahead and just do support tickets. And then once I get into the channel, you'll see I have a couple options here. I can set up a continuous stream or an integration with one of the many tools that we currently support. So you'll see, Intercom, Zendesk, Front, all the big players. You can also set something up custom either through Zapier or through our developer API. This is new as part of the launch as well. Our API supports channels. So you can set up any kind of custom flow of data to continuously stream into a channel. For this particular demo, I'm just going to go ahead and upload a quick CSV. I'll just use this support ticket CSV. And then you'll see it's going to prompt me to kind of start mapping those different columns in the CSV. What data do we want the AI to analyze? In this case, it's the ticket data. We want to be able to get the date. So for filtering purposes. And then you'll also see I can take those other columns in my CSV and decide to map them to the channel, which, as you'll see once this channel is built out, will help with kind of richer segmentation and filtering. So I would click finish, and then Dovetail's AI would start going to work and kind of analyzing that data and then thematically classifying. I'm actually going to pop out of this one and go into an already built out channel just to kind of speed us along. Let's go to customer experience, and here's kind of a similar built out channel. And so what you'll see here, what we're immediately kind of presented with is the list of all the different themes that Dovetail's AI has gone in over the 1,000 data points, been able to start kind of thematically classifying or identifying those key trends that are emerging in the data. I mentioned just earlier that I'm able to kind of slice and dice to kind of refine and find those different data points that make the most sense to me. So maybe I just want to look at things, say, in the past quarter or the past month. I'm able to do that here. I can also add additional filters. Like, for example, maybe I just want to see folks who are on the family plan. Maybe that's what I'm really focused on. So you'll see here, I kind of have that ability to really refine and get to the heart of what it is I'm looking for. Once I click into a certain theme, let's go ahead and do following artists and content. You'll see some Dovetail AI magic sprinkled into this theme, that summary, similar to a video call. We summarize kind of that group of 106 data points We also give you a quick little sentiment score so you can kind of get the quick TLDR. You obviously have that traceability or that audit trail to be able to dig into each individual ticket if you really want to get into the details. But what's great about this is that, let's say this was a continuous sync and I log out and say I come back in a couple of weeks just to kind of get a pulse check on how this particular theme is trending. This summary will update with kind of what's happened since I last logged into Dovetail, so I can really kind of stay on top of those high-level trends. Speaking of additional control, let's say that in this particular theme, I'm like, okay, following artists and content. That seems like a pretty broad theme to me. Let me go ahead and try and split it. So what I'm asking Dovetail's AI to do is to take a second look at this theme and try and kind of break out almost like these sub-themes within there that I can then attach to the channel and have Dovetail continue to monitor over time. And so it's doing that work as we speak. And then what you'll see is I have the option, you'll see here, it's given me a bunch of different suggestions for kind of additional themes that I can split this out to. I can, okay, great. Let's say I like this one. No, I don't like this one. That one doesn't make any sense. Not really relevant for me. You know what? I just want to add a new theme. This is one thing in particular I'm looking for. So I can quickly just type new theme. And then if I were to click split, then Dovetail's AI would then be kind of prompted to look for these new themes and group them appropriately. I also have the ability to create a new theme directly here, similar to what I just showed you. If I want just to add a new theme to train up Dovetail's AI to look for certain things over others. And let's just say, you know, certain things look very similar to me. So kind of on the other side, like I want to try and consolidate themes. Let's say, you know, audio and quality settings and song playback issues. Those are really similar to me. Let's just merge these real quick and create kind of one primary theme that encompasses all of these different support tickets. So really you can see how you can take these really big data sets and kind of refine and massage them to kind of answer those key questions that you're looking to answer when you come and look at these kind of always on mountains of feedback. The last thing I'll call out here is the visualization, which popped up as I was talking. This is another great way to kind of look at the data over time. A great use case we've seen emerge for this is, let's say I'm a product manager and we recently released a fix around audio quality and settings, right? Or sorry, following artists and content, that's the one I wanted. So let's say, you know, we released a bunch of fixes around this. We've been hearing feedback from customers, and around beginning of June, we decided to release a fix. So now instantly I can go in and use support tickets as a feedback data source to get a quick kind of high level. Have we been seeing any positive impact? Are customers complaining? Are customers mentioning less and less about those artists and content issues? So I can get a quick pulse check on how these new features or updates are really resonating with my users. Coming soon will be the ability to pin certain themes to the top of this list so I can keep track on the things that matter most. And as you'll see, as we kind of pass it over to our design folks here in a couple of minutes, we're really focused on ways where we can get you more control and more abilities to be able to kind of, again, work with this data to serve those use cases you have for it. And then the last thing I'll notice here, I'll mention here before I pause for questions, is that actually if I go back to the homepage, and let's say I want to do a quick magic search of the workspace to, you know, for example, what are our users' top pain points? And what you'll see start to happen here is not only are we getting results from, you know, calls or documents or surveys, we're now also getting, you'll see this NPS feedback is actually a channel. That's a data point from a channel. And you'll see here the summary is also including not just data from projects, but also now from channels. Channels is now included as a source when you're querying the workspace. All right. Any questions around channels that I can answer right now before we move on to ask?
Honestly, just a lot about integrations. So what's coming, full tracks, Pendo, we see them all. I don't know if you've got any insight there, Alissa, but mostly a lot of love and a lot of questions about integrations.
Yeah, integrations are a big focus for the team this quarter and always. I mean, especially into like other areas like NPS, App Store reviews, you know, we're trying to identify those big those big sources that you're looking for that really matter most for continuous feedback, and the team is prioritizing them accordingly. So if you ever have a tool that you want Dovetail to integrate with, either in channels or just broadly across the platform, do check out our product feedback board, where you can vote and add new suggestions. Our product team is all over that board.
And maybe one last question, which would take us nicely to Ask Dovetail. I'm going to try for you now. Can we make an insight from that data in channels? And is it something you get into the project to not lose that ticket or to have that sort of traceability back to it?
You mean from the search? Was the question about from the search query creating the insight, or from a channel?
From a channel. So I think it's maybe like, what do we do with this insight once we've found it in channels? How do we get back to it? How do we use it in our research?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so from the channel level, we're not able to create insights just yet, something the team is thinking about for sure. You can obviously create the insight here, and then you'll see it'll port over not just the videos, but now the channel data as well. But really what's exciting about this is being able to surface this channel's data, not just inside of Dovetail, inside the context of Magic Search, but now also outside of the virtual walls of Dovetail, and bringing these insights directly to where your stakeholders work. And that's the segue into the kind of final piece of this demo, which is Ask Dovetail. So we've heard our customers, this Magic Search capability is a game changer in efforts of democratizing access to the customer insights that power the decisions your organization's making every day. But it still requires that people know that Dovetail exists and that they have a login to be able to get in and ask the question. And we really want to break down those walls to customer centricity and literally bring the voice of the customer to life where your teams are. And that's what Ask Dovetail is. And so what I've kind of gone over to here is just a demo workspace, Slack workspace for the Zotify company. You set up the integration between Dovetail and Slack just like you normally would for the integration you all know and love. But now once you add Dovetail to certain channels, you now unlock the ability to query Dovetail the same way that you would inside of the product. So maybe I'll ask Dovetail, what do new users think about the playlist feature? So I've asked Dovetail, and if I click into the thread, you'll see now that Dovetail is thinking. This is the Magic Search flow that we've all come to know and love. What it'll kind of return back is the same thing I would get if I were inside of Dovetail, which is that summary with the links to all the different data points. This includes projects and channels data that you can dig into. One caveat is that if these certain data points are not public, if you haven't toggled them on as publicly viewable on the web, then someone would need a Dovetail account to be able to go in and view this highlight or this channel's data point. So just calling that out. But anyone in your organization, they do not need a Dovetail account, can ask Dovetail directly in Slack and get that answer. But before you think, okay, it's just Magic Search and Slack, big whoop. I mean, it's great, but Ask Dovetail takes it to the next level where now I can not only consume this summary, but let's say some users find it challenging to share playlists. So maybe I can ask a follow-up question. So, hey, Dovetail, tell me more about sharing playlists. And now Dovetail is going to work again. Our AI is intelligent enough where it understands the context of the conversation that we're having in thread and is able to pull new and relevant information that's not repetitive or duplicative and really sticks with kind of the theme of the thread that we've already started. And what it allows me to do is continue to refine my question to get to the heart of what exactly it is I'm trying to answer about my customers. So that kind of back and forth, almost like agentic AI experience is now available directly in Slack. So you can really almost feels like you're having a conversation with your customer with your Insights Hub. But let's go ahead and take it one step further. Again, this requires that someone has a question, knows to ask Dovetail in Slack. Maybe that's a barrier. We can even do more with this. So Another cool feature of Ask Dovetail is the ability to set regular kind of audio insights or digest style kind of updates proactively within the workspace that you can set up for certain groups or teams or stakeholders. So what I would just do is call Dovetail and use the command digest. And what it will do is have you do a little bit of setup on the front end where you kind of, weekly customer insights. Let's name this digest. Let's pick which projects that I want to pull from that I know are always getting new data put into them and new insights being unearthed. Maybe customer interviews, survey analysis, customer feedback sessions. And I can decide which format. So some people like to read, so it gives you like kind of a similar effect as the summary, but with a little bit more detail. Or this is a really popular one at Dovetail. We love these, are the audio podcasts, which is really kind of a podcast style experience. And then in this case, I'm in the product channel, but I can add it to any channel to fire either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. And then once I set it, then now what Ask Dovetail is going to do is proactively go look inside of these projects and pull out the freshest and newest and most relevant insights, package them up into either a text or audio digest, and then proactively share it out with the organization. I have a sample of one we can listen to just really quickly, just so you can get a sense for what these insights sound like.
This week's Zotify Insights podcast. I'm your host, and today we'll be diving into some fascinating user feedback about our music streaming app. We've gathered data from recent interviews with Zotify users, and we're excited to share the key learnings with you. Let's explore what our users love about Zotify and where they think we can improve. Our first key insight is that users really appreciate Zotify's personalized playlist recommendations and its ability to discover new music. One user expressed their love for Zotify's recommendation algorithm, saying,
"I really love the recommendations and the algorithm of the app."
Another user.
All right, I'll go ahead and pause it there. Just a quick note there, the host of the podcast who welcomed us at the top, that is an AI generated voice. But when it's switched over to a customer voice today in Ask Dovetail, if that's a highlight like of a call, then you will actually hear the customer giving that direct feedback. So this takes the concept of bringing the voice of the customer to life to a whole new level, in our opinion. And it's really exciting for us to see these in our own Dovetail Slack workspace. But I also know the sales reps and the CS folks always get a little bit shy because they have to listen to their own voices in some of them. But it's fun. We love it. Cool. So that's Ask Dovetail. I know we're coming up to the top of the hour, but are there any questions I can answer before we kind of close with what's next?
There was a quick question around do channels come into the digest as well?
Currently, no. Right now, the digest is projects only, but that is something on the roadmap for the Ask Dovetail team, is to start pulling in channels as well.
Cool. Awesome. No, a lot of love for us Dovetail in the digest. But no, I think we can jump into what's next. And just FYI, you're going to hear from our designers now talking through what is next. We're going to send this through as well in the email follow-up. So if you don't have time to sit here, that is all good. But we will get it going now for you.
Targeting to the features you know and love, and some of our new ones this quarter here at Dovetail. So as you all know, we've had this huge launch and push here at Dovetail to develop all these new features that we hope solve lots of use cases and pain points that you might have had, but we want to make sure we now invest in improving the quality of life for you and improving the quality of those features that we've launched, and maybe some old ones as well. So I'm going to walk you through today some of the examples of the work that we're targeting to try and make life a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, a little bit better to get your work done in Dovetail. So first of all, what we're looking at here is we've heard some feedback and we've heard and listened to you. There's a bit of inconsistency with the actions you can do across different objects in different locations. Like maybe you can do one thing to an insight in one spot, but not in another spot. Maybe you can do one thing here and not there. We know that this is really frustrating. So we've gone through, we've done a big audit, a lot more consistency should be coming to you soon. But starting off with just the simple basics of being able to download a highlight, being able to download a single highlight like you can download a reel. We're working on this right now, and it should be coming soon to your contextual menus here in your transcript and your sidebar, and that's just going to be a lot easier for you moving forward. Secondly, we've been working on our magic features and we've released magic highlighting and the improvements to it that will take into context your tagging and tag taxonomies. But we've heard feedback from you that you want higher quality and you want more control on these features. And so we're working on that. We're working on making sure that we continue to iterate and refine on the quality of those highlights. And our tech team is developing that as I speak right now. So improvements should be coming really shortly there. And we're also just improving some of the discoverability around these features. So introducing our status signal here, which tells you when magic is in progress, when things are being analyzed and that's happening on your data. What's more, it's just improving the discoverability of the control that you have as a user. And we know that some of you want it fully automated. Some of you don't want automation at all. Some of you want suggestions to be able to review. And you're in control of that. We want to make it easier for everyone in your team to have that control. And so we're just introducing the ability to get to your automation settings, which already existed, through this status menu. So it's just going to be a little bit more discoverable, a little bit easier to get to. And we're also looking to introduce a few different triggers. So, if you're really loving the features, you're accepting a lot of the suggestions, you'll get a little prompt to say, hey, if you want to turn this on instead of having to review, you can do that. So it's just making sure that you remain the driver of your bus with the magic features as we work to improve the quality as well. Speaking of magic, we know that this works better on some data types than others. We know that it works pretty well on video, but other data types doesn't necessarily have the same level of support. So we're currently investigating how we can bring that same level of automation to other document types like free text or PDF. So that should be coming shortly too. Additionally, we are looking into some of your research repository use cases, and we know that not everyone is in Dovetail to do analysis. Some people want to be able to pull in pre-made reports and be able to find the information that you want to find in those reports. And we're going to work on a few different things to try and make that easier. Still sorting out the exact details, but a little sneak hint of what that might be. Some improvements to how we handle fields, whether that be enabling you to set fields as mandatory, so you know that if someone's putting a report into your repository, you're going to get the context you need to be able to interpret that report, or even things like looking at how we can bring in more of that metadata when you are importing, so that you just have the context that you need when you have your data in Dovetail. And lastly, we know a few of you have been using our new survey feature, and we just want to say we're working on improvements to that as well. We support text answers and text responses. We're now looking to expand, and the team's working on it currently, support to things like multi-select and single-select data types. So as you can see here, you'll be able to start to support different survey types that you would typically ask questions on, and then that's going to have more control for you about the kind of data that's coming in and how to handle it. So this is just a few little sneak peeks. We're really excited to keep improving the quality. As always, please send your feedback. We do listen and take it into account. And we want to make sure that we keep improving and iterating so that we are able to solve the use cases that you want to be able to solve in Dovetail. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Hey there, my name's Joe. I'm one of the product designers at Dovetail. I am in the search and discover team. That basically means that I am responsible for the design and implementation of a lot of our search functionality and features. And most recently that has meant Ask Dovetail, which was a 3.0 product that we launched a couple of weeks ago. So far we've had a lot of great feedback on that. And some really useful ideas. So today I'm going to take you through some of those ideas and kind of where we want to take Ask Dovetail next. Thank you to everyone who's shared some feedback on that, and we're really excited for the future of this product. One thing that has stood out to us in the feedback we've received so far is that people really love digests. They love that they can create them from anywhere. About any projects that they like. But one idea that we've had since launching it is, what if I didn't need to pick projects that I want to follow and keep up to date with a digest? What if I just want to follow an idea or a question or a topic? So that's kind of what we're playing around with now, and that's what we're planning to launch pretty soon, hopefully in the next few weeks. So here is an example of how that might work. So you'd prompt Dovetail just like you normally would with the / command. Say you're asking what are the main pain points of the product that you're making, and Dovetail will respond with that answer. But maybe I want to keep up to date with what those pain points are and how they evolve and what new information comes out about those pain points. Now we're going to introduce a new button in this ephemeral message that's only visible to you, which is to be able to follow that query or that question for updates. So essentially turning that search into a saved search or a digest. Meaning you can come back to it, and Dovetail will periodically send you updates, just like a digest, to tell you new information about that query. So if you press follow for updates, it will launch the digest modal that you should be familiar with by now, which really just allows you to choose where you want to send it and the frequency and all those same sort of things as before. Of course, you can still do this with an app mention of Dovetail, and that option will still be available to you in the thread. So that's one thing we're working on in the coming weeks after our launch. And something else we're really excited about is getting channels data into digests. Channels have been something that's been in beta for a long time in Dovetail, and as part of the 3.0 launch, we also launched channels officially. And so we're really excited about how many teams have created channels across Dovetail in their workspaces and how much use it's getting. So we feel like now's a really good time to put channels data into these digests. So you can keep that data coming in when you're building a channel, kind of let it hum along by itself and allow digest to kind of give you that periodic update about what's going on without you having to jump in. And of course, you can still have that digest in an audio format if you prefer, in a podcast format. So you can kind of listen to some of that feedback without having to read and kind of analyze, what's going on in my themes in my channel. So yeah, that's kind of what's next for Ask Dovetail in Slack. But something that we're also really excited about, and we know applies to a lot of our users, is Teams and Microsoft Teams support. So we're really excited to be working on Ask Dovetail for Microsoft Teams this quarter, so that for the next couple of months, aiming to release that really early next year. So it'll be the exact same functionality as we have in Slack at the moment. Obviously, you'll have your digests in audio and text format, and you'll also have the ability to ask questions just like you can in Slack. So yeah, really excited to roll that out. And we'll be doing a beta of this as well. So if you are an organization that uses Teams and you really want to get your hands on this and give it a go, and you've heard about Ask Dovetail in Slack, please reach out, because we'd love to get you on there and see how you like it and get some feedback early. So yeah, that's kind of it for the search team and for me. So yeah, please reach out if you'd like to be part of this beta, and yeah, I hope you've been enjoying Ask Dovetail so far. Cheers.
I am Maddie. I'm a product designer at Dovetail, and I'm here to talk about our newest product, Recruit. Now, this tool is here to tackle a challenge in the research process, finding the right person to talk to. Now, we know recruitment can be really time consuming, and there's multiple platforms you have to bounce between. You have to manage the back and forth and worry also about potentially over contacting your own customer base. This can eat up your time and limit the quality of insights that you want to get out of this. So what we're hoping is that Recruit within Contacts can really change that. So Recruit lives within Dovetail. It's built right into it. And so it becomes that all-in-one tool. What you can do with Recruit, if you're in your contacts and you can see that you want to speak to someone else, you simply can Recruit. And then you can start your study, or here I'll go into a draft, and you can set your criteria, you can define, you can also schedule your sessions and manage incentives seamlessly. What's great about Recruit is that we have access to over 3 million verified consumers and professionals who, all thanks to our partnership with Respondent. And so with these people, you'll have direct access to these participants who are ready to take part in the studies and provide you the insights you need now or when suits you. With this too, if you want to find a niche or hard to reach user group, you can just define that in your screener capabilities. So what makes Recruit so great is that we have really customizable and flexible screener tools. So you can set your logic. So you can say if this person qualifies or disqualifies. So you're really getting those people who meet your needs. We also have the ability to link NDAs so that you can send out your comms in one go to all your participants. No managing back and forths. It happens all at once. What's great about Dovetail is that Recruit is linked to your Dovetail projects and accounts. So if you set up your calendar integration, your study sessions, your recordings and notes are automatically synced and transcribed underneath your participants' contact. So every insight is accessible and linked directly to the source, ready for your analysis and future references. So if you're really keen to be among the first to experience Recruit and help shape the future of recruitment in Dovetail, head to our website and join the waitlist and get early access. Thanks.
Hey there, I'm Jess, one of the lead product designers here at Dovetail working on channels. Hopefully some of you have had a chance to check it out because I'm excited to share some of the big and small updates the team's been working on. So, first things first, themes. Something we're looking at improving constantly is theme quality. And we do that by continuously testing the LLM's accuracy, but also looking at improving the classification of data points. And yes, we hear you with themes. We're also looking at introducing sub-themes. So when you're analyzing or sharing, you can roll up and down as granular or as broad as you need. So what you're looking at here is a Figma prototype of some of my design explorations. As you can see, these themes here, you could drill down to see the sub-themes. So using this feedback on pricing one as an example, I can drill down to see that there are 3 sub-themes and with the corresponding data points that add up to the 82. The next level of deep dive you probably want to do is looking at the data points, which brings me to the next exploration and something that we want to improve. For example, looking at some of these data points, you might want to dig a bit deeper into the customer feedback, get a bit more context, and see if there are any attached support conversations that you can look into. So using this example, I can click into it. On the right here, I'm exploring how we might surface intercom conversations. As you can see, Caitlin's chatting to Finn about an issue that Finn is helping troubleshoot. On the left here, there's a summary of what the conversation's about. And then down here are the metadata fields that you would have captured when you were setting up a channel. We're also wanting to make it easier for you to see when this feedback was submitted so you have a sense of how relevant or recent this feedback is. And on top of that, existing data point controls will also still be available where you can either delete a data point or you're finding that it's not super relevant and you can simply remove it from a theme. I'm going to switch tabs now to share some of the smaller updates, one of which you may have noticed in filters. As you can see here, we've added a grouping by day, week, or month. And depending on your feedback volume, this will make it easier for you to visualize your data. Another final thing that I will add is we're working on other capabilities such as integrations. And we are looking to adding more than what you see here. So that's it for now. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any feedback on channels, how you've been using it, how you're analyzing the data and sharing them as insights. And I will see you next time.
All right. Great stuff. Sorry everyone for going over a little bit, but hopefully thanks for those who stuck around. Hopefully this means you're all as excited as we are for all these big changes and updates to Dovetail. That concludes our session today. Hopefully we got to everyone's questions, but if not, just feel free to reach out to us directly either in the community or just by dropping us a note. And yeah, Shez, do you have any closing words before we sign off?
No, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Appreciate it. There's a lot of weird time zones joining us around the world, so we appreciate it. And we'll get this out to you as soon as we can today.
Yep. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, team. Bye.